Hello, and welcome to Messages from Beyond, Session 8. I do have a sense already of what or who will be coming through today, so I feel like I can just kind of roll right into the topic and the group or groups of people that are asking to be heard today. I'm already getting a lot of visuals. They've kind of just been coming to me throughout the day. So I'm glad that I'm able to be here in this space with you so that I can share. And it's almost like, well, when you channel, it's like there's a lot there that's asking to come through, and it just like it feels really good when you can bring it through and say what needs to be said and share what's asking to be shared. And then it's like, okay, I don't feel that. It's kind of like pressure, actually. Like it feels there's energetic pressure there when the messages are there, but I just haven't had a chance to sit down and share them yet. So it's like a win-win for both of us, because who is asking to be heard gets to be heard, and I get to like clear the channel and share the messages so that I'm not getting insights and images and this energetic pressure to bring it through. So yay for both of us. It's like I say, it's a win-win for everyone involved. And you get to experience what is coming through and expand your own minds and expand your awareness. And so hopefully you find it as a win-win-win situation with you included as well. So that's kind of fun. It's like, okay, well, it's two parts, but it's actually three parts because I've found a way to share it with you as well. So it's like the trifecta or the tripod. Like, yes, there's three points of connection here. All right, so I feel that the topic for today that is in my awareness asking to be shared is the health care helpers, the people on the front lines, whether it's the current situation that we have found ourselves in with the coronavirus, or whether it's I know oh goodness, how long ago was that now? A couple of years ago, I believe. There was a really, really bad bus accident back fairly close to where I grew up. And there was a lot of healthcare professionals, but there was also a lot of volunteer healthcare helpers who had to like man and woman up in those moments and at the crisis itself, but then afterwards, as well, as these people were being transported to hospitals and flown to hospitals. And so you have the initial, for times of crisis or a tragic event, like an accident, you have the first responders. So you have the on-scene people, in the moment people, where it happened, when it happened people. But then you have I'm going to say like where the people are brought to people. So you've got like the doctors and the nurses and the staff and the support staff and just yeah, like you've got the people at the destination site as well. So where the people, the injured people or the traumatized people go once they leave the trauma location. So there's that dynamic that's in my awareness, but then there's also something like a virus dynamic where it's kind of like a constant ongoing, people coming in needing help, people coming in with, you know, obviously adverse effects from their illness, and, you know, being in an emergency situation or being in a life and death situation, or just being in a, I'm not healthy right now, something's not right, and I need your help situation. And so I just find it very interesting, because these professionals are people too. And yes, they have chosen that it is, you know, they have chosen a career in the healthcare profession. And so their day-to-day work involves hurt people, sick people, traumatized people, like I'm getting like broken people with broken things. And so they're already operating at a very high level of stress, and they're operating in a very like stressful situation or potentially stressful situation all the time. And so whether that's like the first responder people, or whether that's the people in the clinics and in the hospitals, but I just feel that like they already have a very intense job most of the time, especially depending on like if you're in the emergency ward or you're in like the trauma department versus like a walk-in medical clinic. However, in times like this, everything is escalated, because even walk-in medical clinics, everything is escalated because of the threat, or because of the potential of the threat of this virus being anywhere at any given time. And so everything is escalated, and everything is just a little more intense and a little more like hypersensitive and hyper aware. And yeah, there's a lot of energy there. Like I'm not even going to pretend to know what these healthcare professionals and first responders feel in a day. I'm just doing my best to imagine what they feel and what they go through. And definitely, like, if you're watching this and you have more to add, by all means, please like comment and share that with me and us, to broaden our understanding of what you're dealing with and what your situation is like, especially in times like this where everything is heightened and everything is escalated. And you know, it's not even just the people that are coming in, and the people that they're treating and that they're assessing and that they're helping. It's the fact that like right now, I've read so many different articles where they don't have the supplies they need to protect themselves a lot of the time. Or it sounds like there's been a lot of cases or a lot of instances where the healthcare professionals don't have protective gear or the right kind of gear, or like maybe there isn't even enough like sanitizer or like sanitation stuff, or like I don't work in that field, so I don't have a hands-on understanding of what's going on for them. But again, it's like from what I've read and from what I am picking up and from what I can imagine is happening for them. And that's a whole nother level of stress when you don't have the tools that you need, like not enough ventilators, not enough masks, not enough gowns, not enough supplies, not enough, like I just feel that it adds a whole nother level of heightened stress, concern, uncertainty, and we do have to remember, like, one thing that's coming to me very loud and clear right now is like, we have to remember, so those of us who are just like everyday people not working in those environments, we have to remember that the people who have chosen that as a career, they're still people as well. And with certain situations, no one would ever choose that, or no one would ever like, it's just like, I just can't imagine that, like, how having to deal with something like this, or like the bus accident, or just other situations where everything is very heightened and very escalated, would be okay ever. Like, because they're people too. Like, they are putting on their superhero clothes and their superhero hats and their superhero, like, let's get the job done and let's deal with this personas, I guess. But they're people too. And I think that's so important for those of us on the outside to remember that, and that their safety matters, and their health and well-being matters, and their, like, ability to, like, decompress matters, and their ability to, like, function outside of that in their own life matters, you know, when they're not at work, because nobody can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like, they go and they do what they do to help people in need, but then when, you know, when they're 12 or 16 or 8 or however many hours is up, like, they're people too. And it's like, how do you go back to functioning as an everyday person when you've just been dealing with something that we're all supposed to avoid and stay away from and isolate from? Or like, we're like, it's like they sometimes deal with our worst nightmares of, like, we could only imagine having to deal with a bus full of injured and dying people. And it's like that's what their job is when it needs to be that. And I feel that the point, or the purpose and the point of this session today, is to just, like, I'm just seeing, like, so many healthcare people from past traumatic times, and like, I'm getting a lot of, like, when something like this does happen and there's a need, there's like a heightened need for healthcare help, and people are converting, or they're bringing the hospital outside under tents, or they're like, where the hospitals are busting at the seams, or during times of war and conflict where everything is just a makeshift whatever, and they were literally just, like, out in the field. Like, I think of, like, the Red Cross and the role of the Red Cross and all of these nurses and doctors that tried to save soldiers and like, oh yeah, in the past. And what's been coming to me is like, how can I help, we're just gonna say like healthcare professionals or health professional, like, because there's the first responders as well. And again, like, I don't always have like the proper technical terms and the right labels and the right things to call people, because it's hard for me to know everything about everything of all areas of life and all groups of people. But it's just like, how can I help the healthcare professionals from the past heal and release what they were maybe never able to let go of, like what they experienced and what they went through and what they saw, and but perhaps never were fully able to let that go or be at peace with it or come to terms with it, or like, yes. So I feel that that is what this session is meant to be, because I've been thinking so much about our current situation with the coronavirus and our healthcare professionals and our, you know, all of the people who are, what's the word I can use? Like, that are in it. And the people who are dealing with it and the people who are helping people deal with it. And I just know that, like, whatever I can do to help past people who've been in that situation in an energetic way, it will help current people in the same type of profession who are now dealing with ongoing escalated situations because of this virus. And so yeah, I feel as though that is what is asking for my assistance today and what's asking for my help today. And so I just want to extend like so much love, light, and truth and strength and appreciation for all of the healthcare people in the health field right now. And just like energetically just sending them like strength and compassion and love and light, and just like, yeah, I feel that they are in a tough situation right now because people do need help, and we don't know how to, a lot of times we don't know how to help ourselves. Like we get ourselves, or we find ourselves in these situations, and it's like, oh shit, like I can't deal with this on my own. I can't fight it off on my own. I can't overcome this on my own. I need help. And so then we ask people in these professions to help us, and they basically, it's like they put themselves on the line to help us. And I just, like, I feel that right now at such a very, very, very deep level. And just like the intensity of it all, and the pressure of it all, and the stress of it all. And yeah, it's a big job, but especially in times like this, it's a very, very big job. And so whether it comes to me today in this session to help living healthcare professionals somehow, I'm not sure, but I definitely know that there's a lot on the other side who would like to let go of. So I'm just going to ask them, like, what would you like me to help you let go of? and I'm just getting like the trauma that they lived through, because it's not even that they were like there when these accidents happened, but the trauma that they experienced from the trauma that the people were in, and what they had to do to help these people. And like, again, I've never been in that type of situation, but I can only imagine what it's like. And so there's the trauma that they felt but had to suppress from dealing with the trauma. Because when you're dealing with trauma, like, you can't beat trauma or you can't do your job. But it doesn't mean that you don't experience trauma. It just means you can't feel it in that moment. And you just got to suck it up and get the job done and help these people, because oftentimes it is a life and death situation for these people in these traumatic or heightened situations. And so they're just saying, like, a lot of them, and especially like mental health and emotional health and well-being, like, we are just scratching the surface of what that even means, and like what skills and techniques even help with that. And so when you think, like, even in my childhood, like, there really wasn't much talk at all about mental and emotional health and well-being, and that trauma can like have lasting effects on people. And so in the past, I'm getting like 0, but there was varying degrees of from 0 to just tiny, like, I'm getting like, some of them found their own therapy, like painting or exercise or nature, or like different hobbies, or woodworking, or just like using your hands as an outlet to like release the pressure of the feeling of unresolved stuff within you. And so a lot of them found their own ways to try to deal with it and cope with it. But what they're saying is, like, very few of them ever truly released the trauma, or released the stress, or released, just that like heightened, escalated, intense, like, it's like in a vibration, right? Like, it's like they carried that intense, escalated vibration energy within them until they died. And then whatever was still with them stays here in the physical for other people to deal with. And so what they're telling me is that by me helping them release what they still what they left unresolved. Sorry, like, I record these like live in the moment as it's coming, and I know like sometimes it's like takes me a bit of time to get the clarity and get the message and get the words out. So I do apologize that it's kind of like lumpy and bumpy, but I just feel that it's really important to just share what comes in the moment as it's coming, rather than doing this on my own and taking notes, or like editing it all out, or whatever it may be, and just having like, and maybe that's what I should do, but for now it just feels like I'm just meant to record these experiences and not give a shit about the editing, or about the pauses, or about like, because I'm just meant to show the moment and the authenticity of the moment. And yes, for whatever reason, well, I know why. It's because I kind of feel bad that like it's not real smooth, and it's not real polished, and it's not edited at all. And it's like I've kind of been like, oh man, like I wish that I could just like have the words right away, and I just wish that I was like so much smoother, and that blah blah blah. But it's just like, well, but this is what it is, and this is how it is. And like, yes, maybe sometime in the future it'll just be like an automatic stream that just flows right through me, and it's so eloquent, and it's so smooth, and it's so like beautiful and whatever. But it isn't that right now. And so for those of you that can persevere through my like translation process and my wording process, I do appreciate it, because there are gems and golden nuggets of really great information and insights and awareness that do come through eventually. It's just a little bit bumpy, and it's a little bit rough, but that's okay. I do try to like, yeah, it's just like, this is just me. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm not fake. I'm just who I am in the moment with what comes, and I translate it as best as I can, and it is what it is. It's more important for me to just share the message and get it out to people, and like do the work and do the help, than it is to spend a bunch of time polishing and editing and fancying things up. So the work, what I'm getting is like the work itself is more important than a fancy video. So priorities, ladies and gentlemen, priorities. And the message itself and the help itself is definitely a priority for me. So anyway, that was just a little aside, because I do feel bad when I'm bumpy and lumpy and it's not smooth. I do feel bad about that, and I am aware of that, and I do ask that that I continue to get better and smoother and like naturally just like more flowy than bumpy. Like I would, that is my request. That is my goal, to just naturally be more flowy, less bumpy, and just like have it coming through smoother and faster, and like it's just like, yes, I will and always am working on that. And I think by verbalizing it too, it's making everybody aware on all levels that like I would really like to be smoother and flowier, and just, yes, that's a goal. Setting my intent. Whoops. Sometimes my arm goes too up high. I'm setting my intention that more smooth, more flow, and yes, more polished in a natural way. So what's coming to me is that by me helping past healthcare people release their trauma and release their vibrating intensity energy and releasing their stress that they were never able to let go of themselves in their own lifetime, it's actually like freeing things up for the current healthcare professionals and first responders. And it's like, it will help them. It's kind of like a cup. Like, so we have a cup, and our own life fills the cup to varying degrees, but of what we can handle. So we all have a cup of what we can handle and manage in a calm, present, grounded way. But what happens is if we, from our family, or family history or from history have in some way are connected to other people's unresolved energy of this, then our cup in our own life isn't starting out empty. It's starting out a little bit full from other people's energy that we're connected to. Then if we, like, you think of oh God, I just had a huge realization. When you think of a hospital, so many hospitals are super old. And there's like so many cities are super old. And so many cities have seen and experienced and gone through so many really, really, really shitty things relating to health and health crises or health crises. And that energy that's around, it adds to the cup, depending on where you work and what you're doing and who was there before you and what happened there before you. And then, like, do you see how, like, now you only have, like, this much of your own tolerance room of what you can handle before you're maxed out and your cup is overflowing and it's just too much. And so what I like to do is help people be like, okay, well, here's your cup. I'm going to help you clear out all of your human history, like connection, family history, whatever ancestral history that you're connected to that fed this cup or fed into this cup. I have to sneeze. Oh, there's a lot. Pardon me, bless me, and excuse me. There's a lot of energy in that. Wowzers. Okay. Whew. Sneezes are just like releases of a lot of energy. So that was a good energy release. Maybe I've been carrying some stuff in my cup. I'm guessing that I have. From being a helper of helpers or something like that. I feel like, yeah, probably I come from a long line of helper of helpers. And help the helpers. That's part of what I do, is help the helpers. And so anyway, so what I like to do is I like to come in and say, hey, let me clear out like this big chunk of energy here that is in your cup, but it's from people from the past that you're connected to that somehow are linked to this particular cup of yours. Let's say it's like handling health crises. Also, sometimes my grammar is not the best, but that's okay because I don't have the right words for all the words either. So it's like, okay, let me help release that energy from your health crisis threshold cup. And then I like to come in and say, hey, what if now I also help clear out the energy that's left over from previous health professionals from where you worked or where you're working, or just in the general space, any, like, from the past or from the like, I'm just getting like geography, like geographical, like, because energy can move around, right? So maybe the hospital isn't in the same place, but the vibe is the same. Well, energy is going to go to where it has a connection to the vibe, right? Where it's like, because energy isn't necessarily just going to sit in an open field where a hospital used to be. It's going to be attracted to like a vibe similar to what it is, right? I don't know. That's just coming to me right now. And so, and even if it isn't an open field, it's still there and it could still be affecting people. So with the cup, it's like, all right, let go of past people energy, but also let go of, like, what's the word? Location energy. Oh, so good. Location energy. And like geographical past stuff happening energy. And then what that does, so for deceased healthcare professionals, it just frees them from that, and it balances and it neutralizes, and like they're at peace with it now. Thank God. Hey, like, yeah, they would really like to be at peace with what they dealt with and what they went through in their lifetime that they just couldn't know how to do before they passed away. And but it's also helping current living healthcare professionals of today, because now it's like giving them more room in their crisis threshold tank to just be able to stay strong and be able to get through the day and be able to like breathe and to manage what's coming in and to like keep themselves strong. Because I'm gonna say it is a concern of mine. Like I've had a very level head. I feel that I've had a very level head through all of this so far. But one concern that I do have is if the healthcare professionals get too exhausted and too wore out and they can't do their jobs and there's not enough of them that know what they're doing to be able to do their jobs, like we're kind of screwed. Like, because it's not like some Joe Blow off the street can just all of a sudden come in and like do these things that medical people know how to do and have been trained to do. And like it's kind of important to know what you're doing. And so that has been on my radar and that has been on my mind, that like it's really important to do what we can and for healthcare professionals to do what they can to keep themselves healthy and keep themselves strong and keep themselves within a healthy crisis threshold balance of what is going on in their day-to-day work life, so that they're not beyond their threshold. And yes, so it's so important. It's so important. And so again, that is, now I have the realization, like that is what I would like to offer. Our current like healthcare professionals at an energetic level, like I'm just putting it out there, I'm sending out the invitation that if they at an energetic level, like heart and soul level, would like to cleanse this extra stuff in their threshold cups that they're carrying from other people and whatever else they would like to get rid of, like as a general offering, I am more than happy to help them do that, and to help, I guess it's like to help their essence do that, or their soul do that, or whatever part of them can intuitively connect with me in this moment. And yeah, just so that we are able to help today's healthcare workers as well, if they choose. Like only if they choose, like only if they energetically, intuitively come to me. I am extending the invitation, but none of what I do gets done, or none of what I do happens to anyone who isn't willing, like who doesn't come to me. So yes, I'm just mentioning that. It's like I don't force anything upon anyone ever. It's just like, hey, I have these skills. Hey, I've got these connections. Hey, I have this awareness. I have a sense of these things, and I'm here to help. And so, yeah, like just again, it's like just so that everyone is aware of like how I function and how I do what I do. It's like I never force anything on anyone. It's just I extend the invitation, and whoever intuitively, energetically would like to receive it, it's like my door is open. You come to me and I will help you. And then that's what we do. So I just wanted to clarify that. So I'm just asking all of our frontline workers, that's the word I was looking for earlier. Thank you. Just asking all the frontline workers of the past if there's anything else they would like me to mention or bring up. Just that they're carrying a lot of trauma. Like a lot of trauma. Like, again, human history has been a bit of a gong show. And they're carrying a lot of trauma. And they died with a lot of trauma. And they didn't have skills. They didn't have mental, emotional, spiritual skills to be able to, like, help themselves. Yeah. And it's just that, like, in this moment, I just feel like, I don't know what the right word is, acknowledging the career that they did choose, and like how selfless that is, really, and was and is in so many ways, because they put themselves in really unpleasant situations in order to help other people, and in order to help save lives, like in order to help keep people alive and living. They go through some really crazy shit, and they deal with some crazy shit, and it's just like acknowledging that, like, they just had a need within them to help people. And sometimes helping people is a messy, traumatic, gut-wrenching, stressful job. But they did it because they really wanted to help people. And I just feel that, like, it's important to acknowledge that. And it's important to acknowledge, like, what they are willing to go through themselves, and like the conditions that they put themselves in, or like, yeah, like just like what they allow themselves, the situations that they allow themselves to be in order to help people is pretty, it's a big deal, because not everyone could or would be able to do that. Like, I know for certain I am not built for that. Like, I'm not built for that. Like, I'm much more built for helping people in non-icky ways and not hands, like in like, it's funny because, like, it's like I deal with the aftermath of trauma, but I don't deal with the trauma itself in the moment of it. And yeah, so not everyone could do these jobs, and not everyone is built to do these jobs, and not everyone, I just think it's important that we acknowledge them. Give them a little bit of acknowledgement. Give the frontline people, the healthcare professionals, acknowledgement. Because it's almost like when you get acknowledged, you get stronger. And you know, like, it's almost like it's just reassurance. Like, acknowledgement is like reassurance, because it's like, thank you. Thank you for taking a moment to put yourself in, or imagine putting yourself in my shoes, and what I deal with, and what I'm going through, and what I'm seeing, and what I'm like. It's like, if you're scared at home, well, imagine what we're suppressing right now, because we're the ones dealing with it. So yes, I just feel acknowledgement is like reassurance, and reassurance is like strength boosting energy, and like sending them a little love is strength boosting energy and strength building energy. And yeah, there's a lot of really good vibes and really good energy that we could consciously send to our healthcare workers and frontline people to help them get through this too, because it's important for us to get through it, but it's also extra super really important that the people that know how to help people can also get through it. So yes, they are very happy with that translation and interpretation of what they're saying to me. So what I would like to do now is give permission for all of the past frontline workers and healthcare workers who have passed away now, that are deceased, just giving them permission that if they choose, if they're willing, that I am inviting them to release the stress, the trauma, the sadness, the escalated intensity, just like that vibrating energy, like adrenaline and cortisol and just like that, what's the word? Like when you're like the in the moment, like pressure situation, vibration energy. And just, yes, giving them permission to that if they choose, that they can set that free and release and dissolve it, and just like whatever they left behind that's connected to health crisis situations, whether it's trauma or an ongoing situation, like in the moment trauma, ongoing health crisis situation. And just that, to release and balance and cleanse and clear and neutralize. Neutralize is the most important. Like neutralizing this energy is so important. And also extending the invitation for current frontline people and healthcare workers to release and to be willing to let go of the energies in their crisis threshold cups that aren't theirs, that came from that they're carrying from the location or from previous people that they've been connected to. And just like sending that invitation that if they choose, they could let this energy go, so that you've got more room in your cup and you're able to handle more. And it's like, at least now you just have your own stuff in your threshold cup that's building and dealing with. And for any healthcare workers that do see this video, you can check on your mental and emotional health through this process as well, that I'm doing and helping with energetically. But basically, if you're watching this, you can tune in and check on your own cup and how much of my own stuff am I holding, and what am I holding in my health crisis threshold cup. And hey, is there a way that I can bring down the stress and bring down the sadness and bring down the trauma and bring down that adrenaline, cortisol, vibrating stuff, and just do a check with your own cup through meditation or imagination or whatever process suits, just asking a question, journaling, drawing a picture, and just to check in and see what am I holding? Like, how high is my cup? Like, how maxed out am I right now? And then just if you discover that it's high and you discover that there are things that you would like to let go of, it's just the simple process of like envisioning it or imagining it or thinking about it and giving yourself permission to let it go and like bring those levels down and to release. Like the release is the most important part. And so I've got a whole pile. Sorry, wrong word. I have a whole group of past healthcare professionals and frontline workers who are releasing and neutralizing this energy that we're talking about today. And I've got another large group of current day healthcare professionals and frontline workers who energetically, intuitively, at a heart and soul level, they are hearing this and they're willing to let it go, what doesn't belong to them. And hopefully through this recording, through this session today, there will also be people checking in and releasing their own stuff as well to keep that threshold cup at a manageable level, so that you're not, even though you could be going through a lot, you're not holding it. And that's the most important part, is like, we go through what we go through and we experience what we experience, but it's not those experiences themselves that get us. It's what we hold and carry from those experiences. That's what gets us. And the people on the other side are saying, yeah, like, that's what happens. Like, we all, like, they're saying, like, they all survived the trauma. They all survived the crisis. But it was like afterwards, like the effects from those experiences afterwards, because of what they never knew how to let go of. And they never knew how to check in on their threshold cup. And they never knew how important their like mental and emotional and spiritual health and well-being was. They just did their best to like stuff it down and cope with it and like never think of it again. Just never think of it again. And that's a coping mechanism, but it's not a solution. And everything that I do is very solution based, because I know how not good it is to continue to hold this stuff, because it affects you in your own life and it affects a heck of a lot of things afterwards when you're not even here anymore. It's still affecting people and life, and yeah, like it's still a factor in life and with people and with what happens and how bad things happen. And yes, anyway, so I'm just gonna see if there's anything else that I am meant to help with today. No, it's like as soon as I get a thank you, then I know that it's like, no, we're good. So the people from the past are saying thank you, but the current people, they have a message to share, that they didn't realize how much of other people's stuff from this profession, from the past, and from the locations themselves that they work in every day, they're just saying to me to share with you, like, they had no idea how much energetically they were carrying. And they're just saying, like, holy smokes, like it is important to at least let go of what we're carrying that doesn't belong to us, at least. Oh, and the other part is like, once we clear something out, so with deceased people, Like once we cleanse and clear and neutralize something, they're good because they're already on the other side. They've already gone through the golden light. They're already like their cups are already filled with love, light, and truth. But for the people that are still here, for the present day people, whenever we let go of something, I always like to fill it up and replace it with something that is like awesome and helpful and like just like beneficial. There we go. Beneficial. And so I'm just seeing like people have room in their cup now. And they're just like, okay, well, we have this space, but like proactively, you could bring in some very, like you could bring in love, light, and truth. You could bring in strength. You could bring in, I don't like the word courage because it has rage, the word rage in it. And I don't like the word courage, but like calm, strength, perseverance. I don't know. There's just like the calm in the storm. Like, so there's something to be said for people who can be peaceful and be calm and be neutral and be balanced in crazy ass situations. And so I feel that there's like a lot of like present day frontline and healthcare professionals that would just really like that's what they would like calm, peace, balance, strength, to just bring that in to themselves and fill their threshold cup with that, so that it's like, so that the stress doesn't get them as easily and the pressure doesn't get them as easily. And like, it's harder to fill up the threshold with stress and trauma when it's already filled with beneficial stuff. So it's almost like it helps it not get in. So if your threshold cup has a lot of great things in it and beneficial stuff in it, do you see how it makes it harder for the stress and trauma and pressure to get in? And it makes it harder for you to even let it in because your cup's already full. It's like, well, I don't need to let this pressure in right now because I've got balance in me. And if I'm balanced, then there's no room for pressure. So it's all in what we choose to hold. And it's all in what we choose to let in. And if you can be proactive and proactively bring in beneficial stuff, well, then you don't even have room in your cup to bring in the non-beneficial stuff because you're good. It's like, I'm good. I'm going to just keep these beneficial things in my threshold cup. So that is very, very important for present day helpers, to just bring in as much beneficial stuff as you can proactively and keep it in there and check in on it and do some flushing and do some like beneficial enhancing and do what you can energetically to correspond with what you're doing physically to get sleep, get food, get the necessities of what you need during this time physically. But I'm helping you and helping teach you what you can do energetically to keep your energy strong and to keep your like mental, emotional, spiritual self strong, which emulates out as like when we work on our physical, mental, when we work on our emotional, mental, and spiritual energetic self, then that it's like that ripples out as physical health as well. That enhances and boosts and strengthens our physical health and well-being because we're not compromised internally. If we're healthy and strong and like aligned and like peaceful internally, then of course our body will be healthier and stronger and more peaceful and balanced and whatever, because we're doing that work on the inside as well. So I feel like I'm going to leave kind of wrap up the session with that insight. And I just want to thank the people that came through the channel today, and thank the present day people, whether you're watching this video or whether energetically you, the people that connected energetically with me today to help clean out their cup and fill it up with beneficial awesomeness. I just want to thank all of you for being a part of this today, and I'm sure we will see you again soon. Bye for now.